Welcome back to the channel. Monica Louv here at The Love Messages. So today we will be doing a reading from the 14th to the 21st of May. Now this is going to be a general reading, so it may resonate with you, it may not. If it does resonate with you, there will be links in the description box for your convenience. Libra, in this reading, I'm going to be taking a look at past, present, and future for you. I'm going to clarify the cards and pull some advice. Okay, so your challenge for the third week of May is the Page of Swords, and what you don't see coming at the bottom of the deck, you have the Page of Pentacles upright. Okay, so Libra, your biggest challenge for the third week of May is the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Swords. Okay, so the Page of Swords is connected to analyzing things, analytics, really getting to the bottom of something, research, education, details, a lot of details here, okay? Your biggest challenge for this third week is really to get into the details of things. Now, when I talk about the details, I'm talking specifically about, I'm specifically talking about possibly a relationship here. Okay, I feel this is connected to a relationship because in the future you have the Two of Cups here. In the past, you had the Lovers here. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So, you know, if you're not in a relationship now, this doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be one that is connected to your home life, your family life, your work situation. So your biggest challenge here moving forward is to be very detail oriented. Okay, to ask the right questions, to look at the information, to gather information, and really come to a solid understanding of what this situation is. Regardless of what your situation is, you must look into it in detail. There's a reason for this. It may be challenging for you because some of you are skimming over the details. Maybe you're not making a big deal out of it. And maybe you're not somebody who's naturally detail oriented, but this coming week, you will need to be detail oriented. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to see why that's showing up for you and what you need to know. Now, in the recent past, you have the Lovers, you have the Chariot and the Four of Pentacles. So in the recent past, you were in love with someone. There was such a strong connection between you and this person. They were literally the apple of your eye. Very strong connection. The message here is I trust my knowing and make a commitment. So a lot of you felt that the person that you were with in the past was the person that you were meant to be with. You decided to move forward with them effortlessly, and you believed that you were going to hold on to this person forever. There was a very strong connection here. We're going to talk about that and get more information in a moment. Now, in the present moment, you have the Queen of Wands and the Temperance, as well as the Seven of Cups. So in the present moment, I do feel very strongly there is the Queen of Wands here. You're dealing with maybe a Sagittarius. I'm getting a Leo here, possibly Sun, Moon, or Rising. Scorpio is very strong as well. There's a lot of this delay in the present moment when it comes to your life, okay? And a lot of you are asking the question, why is there so much delay? Why isn't this happening faster than it needs to? Why is this slowdown happening? And for many of you, there's a lack of clarity in the present moment in connection to the situation that you're inquiring about. It says, I trust myself and see the truth. So a lot of you need to recognize, okay? And here's the thing. I'm going to talk about the seventh house because, you know, this is the love messages, which means most of the channel on here, I talk about love. This is what I'm talking about here, okay? So for many of you in the present moment, Neptune entered into your seventh house in March. So something within your relationship started to become a little bit confusing, a little bit uncertain, okay? I feel like this situation needed your attention, and right now there's still a lot of this confusion or uncertainty, okay? And we're going to talk about that. Something here is taking way too long to happen, and a lot of you want answers in terms of that, and we'll talk about it in a moment. In the near future, you have the Eight of Cups, the Moon, and you have the Two of Cups. So in the near future, I'm just going to tell it like it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat. I feel many of you are going to choose to walk away from a relationship. Many of you excuse me, are moving away from a relationship. The reason why you're moving away from this relationship is because your emotions, your subconscious mind may be telling you that that's the right decision to make. Neptune is in your 7th house. It's been there since March, which means there's been things going on in your relationship that you've been ignoring, that you've been pretending aren't a big deal when really they are a big deal. Okay. Not going to resonate with all of you. Some of you are ignoring something here that has been a very big problem. And in the near future, when Saturn enters into your 7th house after May 24th, May 25th, the red light, the bell goes off, ding. And you say, oh, that's the problem. Some of you have been addressing the issue for weeks, months, years. And when Saturn comes into that 7th house, it's really going to make you realize how serious you need to be when it comes to your relationships. Some of you are going to have no problem completely disconnecting from somebody here who has no regard for what you're asking of them, okay? Remember, a relationship is a partnership. It requires two people to put in the work. If one person isn't putting in the work, it is going to be known here in the near future, and that's when an important decision may need to be made, okay? What you don't see coming is the Page of Pentacles. There's a new endeavor, new project that you're going to start doing. I feel like this project has a lot to do with some sort of huge opportunity that's coming into your life. Of course, when this opportunity comes in, it's a subtle opportunity. You may not notice it, but it is coming in for you, okay? So let's clarify your challenge and let's see what's going on. I know you're probably wondering why I'm making those faces. I'll tell you in a moment, don't worry. Your challenge is the Page of Swords, which is clarified by the Two of Cups. You have the Five of Pentacles and you have the World, okay? Your biggest challenge here, Libra, has a lot to do with a relationship, okay? And like I said, if you're a rising Libra, this is going to resonate more with you. And if you are a Libra, a Sun Libra, I always recommend looking at your rising sign, because that's going to help you to get a better idea of the energies, because a lot of the energies that I talk about are through astrology, okay? This is how I do the forecasts in the readings. Page of Swords is your challenge. So this is about really analyzing a relationship, okay? Whether you went through a breakup recently or you're still in a relationship, this is about you really analyzing your relationships. Any relationships. I don't care if they're romantic, friends, family, work, colleagues. Everybody has relationships, okay? Even if you're a single person, you still have to deal with somebody, maybe a roommate, okay? So, maybe you have a dog, maybe you have a cat, I don't know, but you have relationships. You're not gonna sit in your house all day alone by yourself. You're a social creature, right? So, Page of Swords here is talking about you analyzing the ending of a relationship, why it came to an end, why this person left. There's a reason why, okay? And I'm not gonna say that you're wrong or this person's wrong or you're right and they're wrong, and no. It's not about who's wrong or right. It's about the lessons that we learn through love. Love is an illusion. Love happens by you attracting people into your life, usually by physical looks, okay? Usually we're attracted to someone first by their physical looks, and then, their personality and the things that they have to offer after that. But usually it comes from the looks. The looks are the main thing that we look at. And oftentimes we attract people that are not like ourselves. And this could be the case for you, but something here happened where this person triggered you, or they said something, or they did something, and they either left or you left, okay? And a lot of you still are questioning why the situation came to an end, why it didn't work out, why it didn't happen the way that it needed to. So over the next few days, a lot of you are going to be reanalyzing why something didn't work out. And it's because Saturn is entering into that 7th house. And when Saturn enters into that 7th house, a lot of you are going to start needing to recognize the changes that need to be made within certain relationships, because either they weren't working out or they were causing some sort of lack of value in your life. The Five of Pentacles is my card of dragging someone along. It's somebody who refuses to work, refuses to contribute, really just refuses to make an effort in the relationship. And I think a lot of you may need to look at your life and say, well, if somebody isn't willing to put in the energy into our relationship, then maybe this relationship isn't for me. This is about you being honest with yourself. It's about you truly getting down to the details of why something here didn't work. And like I said, it's not about blaming. It's not about saying, well, you're wrong and I'm right, and this is the way it is. Everybody has their perspective when it comes to a relationship. But the hardest thing is for us to look at particularly why a situation didn't work out and how we can make a new situation that comes into our life better. So a lot of you are going through this now. It's a big part of your challenge, analyzing why something here came to an end, analyzing why you left a situation or why somebody left you. And like I said, if you're in a relationship where you're dragging somebody along and it's dead weight and you're just dragging them along, it can really have a psychological impact on you. It can affect your physical body, it can affect your looks, it can affect your health, it can affect your well-being, but nobody talks about this stuff. Nobody talks about how toxic relationships and toxic marriages exist, and people still stay in them. They walk around and act like everything's fine and they still stay in those toxic relationships. So this is what your challenge is going to be. A lot of you may overlook a relationship and say, oh, everything's fine, when it really isn't. But as Saturn transits that 7th house for you, it's really going to create this pulsation of needing to get serious about your relationships. Okay. And this is going to be a big part of your challenge. All right, let's talk about the recent past. Let's clarify all the cards. Okay, so the Lovers, which is this beautiful connection that came into your life here in the past, that is clarified by the 7 of Cups. You have the 5 of Cups and you have the Page of Pentacles. Okay. So in the recent past, there was a beautiful connection that you got involved in. I do feel that along the way, a lot of you accepted somebody here. I don't want to say a breadcrumbing energy. Maybe for a small percentage of you, 2% of you, there was a breadcrumbing energy here in the past. But again, there was this illusion of love, right? This illusion of, ooh, I'm in love. This is great. This is amazing. But then at the same time, a lot of you didn't know if this person really loved you. Some of you felt this person was cheating on you. Others of you felt this person was taking advantage of you. They weren't really clear on what they wanted. And for majority of you also, the person that you attracted here in the past, they weren't doing much for you. They were doing the bare minimum, okay? And although you were very heavily attracted to this person on a physical level, it simply just wasn't enough, but you accepted it. There was something here that you accepted and you said, okay, I'm just going to accept it because I do want to be in love. Some of you are more in love with the idea of love than being in actual love, okay? Not going to resonate with all of you, but that's what I'm getting. Nonetheless, Libra, you moved along with this person, you trotted along with this person. And I do feel that for some of you, it became very apparent that this person was lying or they were cheating or they were doing things that made you feel like they were taking advantage of you in the past. And things may have abruptly ended between you and this person. Okay, I'm getting an abrupt ending that happened between you and this person. Nonetheless, even though things appeared to be over between you and this person in the past, you still held on to the connection or the idea of the relationship here in the past. You have the Magician, the 3 of Cups, the King of Swords. So you wanted this person back. But I think a lot of you were living in this fantasy of an expectation here of this person doing certain things. And when they didn't do the things that you wanted them to do, not only were you disappointed, but you kept believing that by going back to this person, they would change. And when they didn't change, a lot of you were confronted with constant conflicts, possibly not necessarily conflicts, but more or less seeing this person's true colors for what they truly were. And it really affected you on a deep level. And this is what I feel happened here in the past. Let's clarify the present moment. Six of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Somebody's disconnecting in the present moment. If they haven't already, maybe they are. Queen of Wands, fire sign, Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. That's clarified by the 10 of Wands, the 9 of Cups, and the Knight of Swords. Yeah, you're at the point right now where a lot of you are choosing to cut certain people off in your life. You're just cutting people off. You're doing this because you are tired of relying on other people to satisfy you. When certain people come into your life and they don't give you the satisfaction that you need, and life starts to become very difficult, a lot of you right now in the present moment, and again, because the Saturn is going into Aries and it is touching that 7th house for you, a lot of you are cleaning house when it comes to certain relationships in your life. And you're realizing that if certain relationships in your life aren't bringing you the satisfaction that you need, then you may need to do the diligent work of cutting certain people or situations off in your life. And that's what a lot of you are doing. Some of you have disconnected from this connection, okay? It has caused you a lot of stress. But a lot of you have standards here and you're starting to live by them. This is a big thing for you in the present moment. The Temperance is here. That is clarified by the Moon, the Knight of Cups, and the Emperor. Okay. So like I said, for many of you right now in the present moment, you keep waiting for this person to change. This person who's emotionally inconsistent with you, some days they're super loving, the next day they're not. This person who appears to be one way, but then in secret, they're a completely different energy. This person who you really want them to be the best father, the best partner, the best friend that you were looking for, but they just can't seem to match up to what it is that you want. So now your subconscious is there. The Moon is there. Something here is hidden and you're waiting for the truth. You're waiting to see some sort of changes here. Now, like I said, the 7 of Cups for me is that Neptune energy in the 7th house. So again, there's been a lot of illusions connected to a relationship. For many of you, you're waiting for this person, the Queen of Pentacles, to get clear with you in order to move forward. And the interesting thing here, Libra, is you're staying very optimistic about the situation, which is good. You know, you're saying to yourself, okay, yeah, I believe this person's going to improve. I believe they're going to get better. And that's great. But it's only great until Saturn moves into the 7th house. And this is what happens in the near future. Something in the present moment is bothering you. It's really bothering you, but you're saying, it will pass. It's fine. It's going to get better. It's fine. It's fine. But here's the thing. In the near future, your subconscious, like I said, to Taurus is screaming at you. And that has a lot to do with Venus. So maybe you have Taurus somewhere strong in your chart. Go check out the Taurus reading that I just did. Okay, that can resonate with you. Let's talk about the near future. In the near future, you come to this conclusion that it's time to disconnect from something here. Why? Because you're emotionally unfulfilled by it. Something here triggers you so much, the Moon and the 8 of Cups, that you say to yourself, you know what? I knew this wasn't for me. And interesting enough, you know, what's really beautiful, Libra, you've been so positive about the situation. You're like, yes, everything's fine. Everything's going to be good. Everything's going to be good, until it triggers you here in the near future. Okay. And it has a lot to do with a relationship. Yes, it does. Okay. So let's get some information on this in the near future, what you have to be aware of. Bottom of the deck, you have the 9 of Pentacles. Some of you are choosing in the near future to be completely single, okay? And the reason why you're choosing this is because you still need to deliberate. You still need to figure out if this person that you've had major conflict with and that you've had possibly a tower moment with is somebody that you still want to entertain. There's a new cycle that's coming in. You've already started your new cycle with Venus, in Aries, okay? Venus has been in Aries for quite some time. So that means she's starting a new cycle, okay? Just like Saturn is starting a new cycle. And you're also connected to Saturn as well too, because you're a Libra, okay? When Saturn is in Libra, it is exalted. It's an exalted energy, so it's a positive energy. But because it's going to be in Aries, it's in a deterrent. It is going to really create this sting a bit. But here's the thing, the sting is needed. You know why the sting is needed? Because it's like this. You know, when you're sick, you have to take medicine. If you don't take medicine, you stay sick, right? So there's something here that you need to be honest with yourself about. The 8 of Cups, the reason why a lot of you are choosing to walk away from a situation that is not emotionally fulfilling for you is because deep down inside, what is super important to you in the near future, Libra, which you either are aware of or you're not, is your success. You are someone who deep down inside, you want success. You want to feel acknowledged. And here's the thing, if you're involved in a situation where you don't feel acknowledged, you feel this person doesn't recognize who you are, they're inconsistent in and out with you, a lot of you sense that in the near future, by walking away, there's something bigger and better that is coming into your life. And this is what you are trying to grasp onto. This is what you want to focus on. Now, your intuition is going to be screaming at you. The moon is showing up here. That is clarified by the Page of Wands, the Queen of Wands, and the Seven of Pentacles. A lot of you in the near future are going to see that this person that you're inquiring about is constantly overanalyzing everything. And this is what you're learning to do. So even though this person triggers you in the near future because they're constantly reevaluating things or constantly questioning things, it may bother you because you may feel that this person doesn't trust you in the near future. They're constantly questioning your behavior. And you may say to yourself, well, if this person doesn't trust me, then why should I have a relationship with someone who doesn't trust me? This person should trust me, and they should believe that by having a new beginning and moving into a new direction with me is going to lead to something great. So the reason why not only is this person triggering you in the near future, but they're showing you what you need to start doing, which is analyzing your relationships. Don't just get into a relationship and be in this fairy tale energy of, oh, it's an amazing energy. My life is amazing. But then you're ignoring all of the things that you need to address. Because that's what people do today. People get into relationships and then they ignore the problems. And then they wonder why their relationship didn't work out. And then they turn around and they say, well, it's their problem. It's their fault. They're the ones that created the problem. So this is what's happening in the near future. If you ignore the problem and you mask it and pretend like there is no problem, what happens, you have the Two of Cups, which is clarified by the Eight of Cups, the Ten of Cups, and the Three of Swords. You either are going to remain being in a relationship that really deep down inside bothers you and hurts you, and you pretend like you're happy, or you decide to completely walk away from it because you no longer want to be in this energy of feeling pain. And of course, the decision is going to be up to you. You're going to have to make that solid decision, but this is what's happening. Real life is going to happen here in the near future, and it's going to be up to you to determine if this is what you want. Okay. So there's an opportunity here to change your life and to make it better if you're honest with yourself. Let's get some advice here for you. What is the advice? Your advice here is the Emperor, the Fool, and you have the King of Cups. So your biggest piece of advice here is to recognize what love really looks like. What does real love look like for you? And again, what real love looks like for one person doesn't necessarily mean it's going to resonate with someone else. For you to truly find stability in your life, you have to be willing and unafraid to take risks. And that means being honest with how you feel, being honest with your emotions, expressing what you want, not being afraid you're going to be rejected. Because here's the thing, if something is real, King of Cups, if it's real, you're not going to be afraid to be vulnerable with this person. You're not going to be afraid to tell this person what is wrong. And if they truly love you, they're going to take action towards making you feel better. Okay. So your biggest piece of advice here is if you aren't getting that, what I've just mentioned, then perhaps it's time for you to be open to having a new beginning and not necessarily looking for stability, but being in that frequency of knowing what you truly deserve and being open to new opportunities. Because by you being open to new opportunities, it's going to bring forth the stability that you're looking for instead of remaining in a situation hoping and praying that the stability will come from this person who really clearly doesn't have the ability to do that. Okay. So this is what I have for you, Libra. Reading is not going to resonate with all of you. It's a specific message. I hope you got something from it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.